The following presentation is for informational purposes only and is not intended to diagnose, treat, or cure your condition, or to be a substitute for advice from your physician or other healthcare professional. Welcome to Tools for Healing and Wellbeing. I'm your host, Elaine Jagelski. In this episode, we'll explore the world of fascial tissue. Now, fascia has been a long ignored or almost forgotten area of the body, but it is absolutely fascinating and so important for our function. Fascia is a connective tissue that surrounds and supports muscles, bones, nerves, blood vessels, and organs throughout the body. It forms a continuous web-like structure that holds the body's various components in place and provides structural support. One of its components is tensegrity, which means it is a stable 3D structure that can move in all directions. Fascia is made up of collagen fibers, making it strong and flexible. There are 12 different lines or groupings or webbings, depending on who is talking about it. And there are three main types of fascial tissue. The first one being superficial fascia. Now, this is located just beneath the skin. It contains the first being superficial fascia, located just beneath the skin. It contains fat and connective tissue and helps with skin movement, insulation, and padding. We also have deep fascia, which surrounds the muscles, bones, nerves, and blood vessels, providing structural integrity and separating muscles into functional groups. It plays a key role in transmitting force generated by the muscles. The third type of fascia is referred to as visceral fascia, and it envelopes and supports internal organs, providing a protective layer and allowing for their movement within the body. Fascia can become tight, inflamed, or restricted due to injury, poor posture, or lack of movement, which may lead to pain or discomfort. Practices like foam rolling, so for example, using something like this, or even if you have a pool noodle, they're a little bit softer, but it will still be assistive in that way. Stretching and massage can help release tight fascia and improve flexibility. Research on fascia has evolved significantly in recent years, transforming our understanding of this connective tissue and its role in health, movement, and injury. For many years, fascia was considered passive tissue, mainly providing structural support. However, newer research shows it plays an active role in various physiological processes, including movement, coordination, injury prevention, and even pain perception. So some of the key areas of fascia research include looking at it as a sensory organ. Fascia is now recognized as a highly innervated tissue, rich in sensory receptors. These receptors play a critical role in proprioception, which is the body's awareness of movement and where it is in space. And in the nociception, which is pain detection. Fascia contains mechanoreceptors and free nerve endings, which means it's capable of perceiving and responding to mechanical pressures or injury. The This insight is crucial in understanding chronic pain conditions, as tight or restricted fascia could contribute to pain through its direct sensory connections. Another area of research looks at fascia and movement. Studies have shown that fascia is essential in transmitting force during movement. Unlike muscles, which contract and relax in a linear way, fascia helps distribute tension and force across broader areas of the body, improving efficiency. This concept is often referred to as myofascial force transmission. Research in biomechanics indicates that fascial health is crucial for proper movement patterns, athletic performance, and reducing injury risk. Fascial adhesions or restrictions can disrupt movement efficiency, leading to compensatory patterns and potential injuries. Fascia's role in injury and healing is also another area of research. Fascia responds to injury by thickening and forming adhesions or sticky spots, which can limit mobility. Chronic conditions like plantar fasciitis, IT band syndrome, and lower back pain are often related to fascial restrictions. Because of fascial lines or groupings, a condition in one area may be due to an injury, which could have even occurred years ago, along another part of the line. For example, the superficial back fascial line begins at the top of the big toe, making its way all the way up to the forehead. So if you have a tension headache along the forehead region, then it might be due to something that is happening along the back of the big toe, bottom of the foot, the plantar fascia area, back of the legs, or the back. And this can work in both directions. Sometimes pain or discomfort in one area may have its origin in an area much further away. This may be often why one area eventually heals, but then basically shows up somewhere else as imbalances are created, but the body is doing its best it can to heal. So to create more of a healing effect, it's important to address the origin of the pain or discomfort. Research shows that techniques like myofascial release, foam rolling, and other forms of manual therapy can help break up these adhesions, improving mobility and reducing pain. Studies have also explored how fascia remodeling occurs in response to various therapies and exercise, showing that targeted treatment can enhance fascial elasticity and hydration, key components of its health. Another area of research is hydration and fascial tissue. Fascia is composed largely of water, collagen, and elastin, which contribute to its strength and flexibility. Recent studies highlight the importance of hydration for fascial health. Proper hydration allows the fascia to glide smoothly over muscles and organs, reducing friction and the likelihood of injury. Dehydrated fascia can become stiff, increasing the risk of injury and impairing movement efficiency. Some research is now focusing on how movement, stretching, and hydration are interconnected in maintaining optimal fascial function. When fascia is in a healthy condition, it moves somewhat like a slip and slide. A fifth area of research is fascia and chronic pain. Chronic pain syndromes like fibromyalgia and myofascial pain syndrome have been linked to fascial dysfunction. Researchers are exploring how fascia, through its connection with the nervous system, could be a source of chronic pain. In fibromyalgia, for example, changes in the density or elasticity of fascia might contribute to widespread pain and tenderness. Addressing fascial dysfunction through therapy and movement could provide new avenues for managing chronic pain conditions. Another area of research is fascia in athletic performance and recovery. Athletes are increasingly focusing on fascial health to improve performance and recovery. Since fascia is involved in force transmission and muscle coordination, keeping it healthy can lead to more efficient movement and faster recovery times. Research has shown that practices like yoga, dynamic stretching, and foam rolling improve fascial elasticity, reducing the risk of injuries like strains or sprains. Additionally, fascial release techniques are now common in sports recovery programs and even fitness classes to alleviate muscle soreness and prevent injury. These techniques can be useful regardless of what level of activity you may or may not be involved in. And some other areas that are being looked at are fascia and the immune system. Some research suggests that fascia may play a role in immune response as it contains a significant number of immune cells. The implications of this in inflammation and autoimmune disorder are being investigated. There's growing interest in how fascia responds to psychological stress. Since fascia is connected to the autonomic nervous system, chronic stress may affect its tightness, contributing to tension headaches, neck pain, or even back pain. Studies are exploring the link between mental health and fascial health. There's a number of therapeutic implications, one being fascial manipulation. Techniques like fascial release, something called Rolfing, which works with the fascial tissue, and fascial stretch therapy, or FST, aim to improve mobility and reduce pain by working on the fascia. These therapies are now supported by research showing they can effectively alter fascial density, reduce adhesions, and restore function. Studies emphasize the importance of movement practices like yoga, Pilates, and Tai Chi, which stretch and move the fascia in various directions, maintaining its health and flexibility. These practices also promote fascial hydration by increasing circulation. Now, there are several effective ways to work and maintain fascial health. One is myofascial release, or MFR, and it involves applying gentle, sustained pressure to fascial tissue to stretch and elongate it. This technique helps break up adhesions or knots and restores normal movement patterns. And there are several ways to perform MFR. The first being manual therapy. So therapists may use their hands to apply pressure to fascial tissue, focusing on areas where the fascia feels tight or restricted. This can be part of physical therapy, chiropractic care, or massage therapy. You can even do this for yourself. Let's say you have something like tennis elbow, even if you don't play tennis. You can manipulate the fascial tissue yourself, feel where it's tight, and pull off the bone all along and into and around, including the area of discomfort. Foam rolling, so as was shown previously, using a foam roller, a pool noodle, or anything that mimics that sort of cushioning, even a towel, a rolled up towel, could be useful as well. So you can apply your own body weight by sitting on it, lying on it, to release tight fascial areas, typically focusing on muscles like the quads, hamstrings, IT bands, and back. Now, massage balls are small balls that they can be lacrosse balls, it could be a tennis ball, it could be a golf ball even, can target specific areas of tension in the fascia, such as the shoulders, the calves, or the plantar fascia. So if you have plantar fasciitis, you might consider applying pressure standing on one of these balls, depending on what you have access to. Or if you know that there's something going on as you along what feels like the back of your leg or into the hips, you can always sit or lie on something like a tennis ball. Maybe even when you're driving, prop that under your thigh or under your hip, and you can apply that pressure. Or you can move your body and move the ball along the areas of tightness or tension or discomfort. Dynamic stretching is another way to manipulate the fascia. And so dynamic stretching involves controlled active movements that take the muscles and fascia through a full range of motion. These stretches increase blood flow, improve elasticity, and hydrate the fascia, promoting healthy, supple tissue. Some examples include something like leg swings, where you're just swinging your leg forward and backward or side to side, stretching the hamstrings and the hip flexors, so working with the musculature along with the fascial tissue. Even something basic like arm circles, where you're taking your arm through a large circular movement to open up the shoulder fascia, and you can do that in whatever directions. Walking lunges. So moving lunges that stretch and elongate the hip and the leg fascia can be helpful. Dynamic stretching is often done as part of a warm-up before exercise to increase fascial mobility and preparing the body for movement. So that could even be something as simple as crossing the arms and opening the arms with a little bit of momentum. It's still controlled in the movement. Another way to work with the fascial tissue is static stretching and fascial stretch therapy, which was mentioned. While dynamic stretching is good for warm-up, static stretching is useful for longer, deeper fascial release. So stretching for extended periods of time, 30 to 60 seconds or more, helps lengthen the fascia, allowing it to remodel over time. Some stretches for fascia include things that you might find in a yoga class that you could still do at home. So things like downward dog, cobra, and child's pose can stretch fascia from multiple angles. And those can easily be looked up as far as what those exercises are actually. There's also the fascial stretch therapy, which is just a specialized technique that is often performed by a trained therapist, which focuses on stretching the fascia by manipulating the limbs and joints in specific ways to release fascial restrictions. This approach works along fascial lines and networks in the body. Now, even without seeing a therapist, you could, so let's say, for example, we tend to do a lot of this kind of movement. And so there are things that elongate, things that tighten. And so we do that a lot over the course of the day, whether we're eating, whether we're working on a hobby, whether we're on some sort of device. And so this fascia and these muscles tend to get tight. So even just holding, if it's available to you, holding the fingers and creating some tension along the wrist, or depending on what level of mobility or tightness is there, putting the hands on a desktop or against a wall, and then just holding it, keeping the elbow straight and working on lengthening. Start gently and then working it up in tension. As was already mentioned, foam rolling and self-myofascial release can be utilized. And this can be done by rolling, as was mentioned, with the foam or the balls. And you want to work with slow and controlled movements, rolling slowly over tight areas, pausing at any point of discomfort or tension for 20 to 30 seconds to allow the fascia to release. So you can combo up the stretch and the tension with the holding. And if it's really sensitive, if you find an area that's really, really sensitive and it hurts to apply the pressure, then maybe start a little further away from the nexus point of that discomfort or pain. Hold there and slowly begin to move it toward the center. You'll find the pain, the discomfort releasing as you do so. Target major areas, so focus on areas with thick fascial covering, such as what would be associated with the quads, the hamstrings, the glutes or your buttocks, the IT band along the outsides of the thighs, your calves, and your upper back. Avoid avoid the bony areas. So keep the foam roller away from right on the joints, like right on the bony part of an elbow joint, such as the knees as well, where fascia is thinner. And this is to avoid discomfort or even injury. Hydration is important, as is nutrition for fascial tissue, because it's composed largely of water. So staying hydrated is crucial for its health. Dehydrated fascia becomes stiff and prone to developing adhesions. Proper hydration allows fascia to glide smoothly over muscles and bones, facilitating movement. Additionally, consuming nutrients that support collagen production, such as vitamin C, amino acids, and omega-3 fatty acids, which many people tend to be deficient in, can contribute to its health and elasticity of fascial tissue. Movement and functional training is important. It's vital for fascial health because it keeps the tissue hydrated, elastic, and pliable. Specific exercises that work the fascia include certain functional movements like squats, lunges, push-ups, which all engage multiple muscle groups and the fascial connections between those muscle groups. So functional training helps ensure that fascia moves and stretches in natural, coordinated patterns. Elastic rebounding movements, so light jumping exercises. So you can do that on the ground, or just sort of just a little jump, even coming up onto your toes and just letting your heels come down. Or if you have one of those rebounders that used to be really popular back in the day, or if you have access to a trampoline even, just doing gentle jumping can generate elastic recoil, which helps strengthen the tissue and increases its resilience. Yoga and Pilates, also great activities because you get to work in multiple planes of movement. Yoga in particular targets long chains of the fascial tissue, promoting release along those fascial lines. Heat therapy can be useful. By applying heat to tight fascia, it can promote blood flow and make the tissue more pliable, easing the tightness. So heat packs, warm baths, or heating pads can relax tight fascia, making myofascial release techniques more effective. Heat therapy is often combined with foam rolling or stretching to enhance its effects. Breath work and relaxation are also useful for fascial tissue. Because fascia is connected to the nervous system and responds to stress, chronic stress can cause the fascia to become tight, contributing to tension and pain, especially in the neck, the back, and the shoulders. Breath work and relaxation techniques help release this tension. So deep breathing, so practicing that diaphragmatic breathing and meditation can relax fascial tension by reducing the body's overall stress levels. Breathing in and out through the nose increases the production of nitric oxide, which helps to relax fascial tissue, which can decrease pressure on any nerves running through the tissue. Progressive relaxation. So focus on systematically tensing and releasing muscles throughout the body, encouraging fascial release. Whole body movements can also be useful for fascial tissue. So things like Tai Chi would be an example of this. And where there's slow movements, it engages the fascial system and improves flexibility and coordination. and fascial stretching lines. So fascia runs in continuous lines or fascial trains or webbings throughout the body. And so by stretching in a way that follows these lines, you can target the entire fascial system. Some of the main ones are the superficial back line, so stretches that lengthen the back from the soles of the feet to the head, such as a standing forward fold, just standing and bending over. Superficial front line, with stretches that open the front of the body, like a back bend, right? Targets that fascial line. Or the lateral lines, so side stretches, and so a side bend, or in yoga, a crescent pose, target the lateral line that runs along the sides of the body. Maintaining healthy fascial tissues requires a combination of movement, stretching, manual release techniques, hydration, and stress management. Regularly working on your fascia through these methods can prevent pain, improve flexibility, enhance athletic performance, and promote overall well-being. So let's take a look at some of these techniques in practice. Welcome to this episode. So if you wouldn't mind introducing yourself.
Hi, Elaine. I'm Steve from Lethbridge. I've been retired now for about 7 years and worked in the computer industry and enjoy my life as a retired senior. I play a lot of tennis, racquetball here at the college, biking, and yes, that's me.
Yeah, because you are quite active, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, over the course of a week, and especially during the summertime, because then don't you also do, because you do table tennis and...
Table tennis, golf.
And yeah, golf, and then lawn bowling, or is it the horseshoes?
Bocce.
Bocce, there we go.
Yeah, in a bocce league, that's a fun thing. So, you know, being outside is important when the weather's nice. Yeah. You know, I like my television like many people, but, you know, doing sports and doing outside stuff takes precedence, so I like to be outside.
Yeah, excellent. And even though, and you're still able to be that active, and you choose to be, even though you have experienced a few health conditions over the years and
yes.
so on.
Yep. Yeah. Getting old is not for wusses. As you get older, it's inevitable that you'll get some sort of injuries or medical conditions that you have to adapt to and make the best situation that you can out of.
Yeah, excellent. All right, so for this episode, we're going to do one little bit of what can be done with fascial tissue. And so we're going to begin with a test. And don't worry, there's no pass-fail. It's just wherever you're at. So we do a sort of a pre-test and a post-test, if you like. And we'll do a little something in between with the ball. So if you wouldn't mind standing, so if you just stand, and I'll talk you through everything that we do, all right? So do your best to kind of, however far apart you want your feet, whether that's hip width, whether that's close to shoulder width, and then just make sure everything sort of is one foot in front of the other, is balanced, and then the knees need to stay straight.
Okay.
All you're doing is based on that, keeping your knees straight, bending, beginning to bend at your hips, and letting your hands start to reach. How far do your hands go? But you get to let your back flex or round. Your knees stay straight. So this is the pre-test, okay? So like I said, there's no right or wrong, it's just wherever it is.
Yeah, to touch the floor, I usually have to cheat and bend my knees a little bit.
So don't worry, that touching the floor is not necessarily, that's the expectation. It's just where does it end up? Okay. So go ahead, and I'll keep your knees straight. Let your back, knees stay straight, don't let them bend. Good, and so just get a gauge of, okay, how far you are from the floor, how far are those fingertips, and remember how you're set up, because you're gonna try to set up as closely as possible after. Good. Okay,
and then just slowly bring yourself up. Excellent. Now, we're going to take the ball, and you just place it on the floor. And it can be any kind of ball. Like it can be a tennis ball, it can be a lacrosse ball, it can be whatever, tennis ball.
This is a road hockey ball.
Yes, yeah, exactly. So it's got a little bit of give, and so depending on what kind of ball and the size, some of them have more pressure, and so it's kind of working with your foot, or different pressures are good. So we're going to begin by, and it doesn't matter which foot because we're going to do both feet. So all you're going to do, and if you need to hang on to something, I will grab one of the rollers. So depending on balance, if there's any balance issues, so just take that ball under the one foot.
Yeah, I'll take a roller.
Okay, great. So put that in front of you, hang on to that, and then just everywhere and anywhere under one foot. Just roll it all over the place, applying pressure. So under the heel, in the midfoot, underneath the toes, bottom of the toes. And it's okay if the ball scooches away, that's normal. Sometimes when we're applying pressure, it just takes off, especially the heart.
I feel some benefit from this. This is nice.
Already, good. Okay, now place that ball under the heel. So your toes are going to be down. Yep, so feel free to kind of roll the ball back just so it's comfortable for where you're standing. And then you're going to apply pressure and then move back and forth. Move back and forth. Move back and forth. And then move it up and down the heel area. Kind of up and down the heel area. Good, pressing. And with these balls, you can probably apply a fair bit of pressure.
Yeah.
Yeah, good. Now, move to the midfoot or the sole of the foot. Place the pressure straight down. Squeeze your toes towards the ground and then lift. And then lift. Lift, lift, lift. Keep breathing because sometimes there's a tendency to hold the breath. Squeeze the toes toward the ground and then lift. Squeeze and lift. Excellent. Now, rolling just underneath the toes. Rolling underneath the toes. Just as best as possible. Back and forth, back and forth. Good. And this can be done with, often it's better without socks, but if a person's not comfortable, then they can do a sock. So I'm showing the sock version and we've got a barefoot version. All right, then taking it back to the heel, and you're going to do the best you can to trace it from the heel to the underneath the big toe. And then back to the heel, second toe. And then to the heel, middle toe, heel, and then the second last toe, and then to the heel, and to the pinky toe. Good. And then just once again, all over the place, just however you want, along the sides, maybe along the edges of that foot, underneath the toes, just anywhere. And there may be spots where it feels especially like, I can feel that. We're not going to do that today, but you can always hold it there as well, like just hold the ball and have pressure there. Okay, so remove that. Now, if you like, you can always, a person can sit and do this next part. Just do a few along the top, right? So just
Same foot.
Yep, same foot. We're just going to do this very briefly because we're going to stand back up again and do the other side. So just kind of run it along the top, run it alongside, along the ankles, just a little bit. Good. All right, now place that ball back on the floor. Now we're going to move to the other side. So we're going to do it all over the place.
Okay.
Right, doing all kinds of little squiggles all over the bottom of that foot. Good, yeah, you got it. And applying as much pressure as you can, as is comfortable. Excellent, yeah, moving it all over. And the sides might feel different, right? The feet are different. Different things might be happening. Yeah, there might be areas that you kind of want to spend more time in, but do your best to move it all around.
Yep, it feels very beneficial.
Oh, good. Yeah, see, here goes my ball.
Oh, you lost your balls.
Yeah. Very normal for them to roll away. Okay, now place it under the heel. So put the toes down and then back and forth across the heel. Back and forth across that heel area. Just squishing the ball as much as possible. Good. Then move to the center of the foot. Now, again, we're going to press down, squeeze the toes towards the ground, and then lift the toes. Squeeze the toes towards the ground, make sure you're breathing, and then lift. And one more time, squeeze the toes toward the ground, and then lift. Excellent. And then maybe just a little bit of movement there, a little bit of movement around. And then move it to underneath the toes, back and forth, and the padding under the toes. Great. Back and forth, excellent. And then now we're going to take it back to the heel and do that tracing where we're going from the heel to the underneath the big toe. And then to the heel, second toe, heel, middle toe, heel, fourth toe, and heel, pinky toe. And then once again, just squiggle all over the place. Just anywhere and everywhere. Good, there's no right or wrong with this as far as how that's done. Good, excellent. And then again on this side, feel free to have a seat. And then just do a little bit of pressure along the top of the foot, along the ankles. All right, and once you've done that, that ball can just be put to the side. And now we're going to test again. So set yourself up as best as you can recall. Knees are going to stay straight, feet are the same width apart. And this time, again, bend at the hips. You're going to do the same thing as you did before, and just come on forward. Do you notice a difference?
Yeah, I'd say 3 or 4 more inches closer
Yeah.
to the ground.
Absolutely. All right, slowly come on up. And that was just by doing that work on the fascial part on the feet, right? Plus, you got all those lovely nerve endings at the ends of the feet. And if a person's into reflexology, right, associated with different parts of the body. And so a lot of benefit in a very short period of time by just doing that.
Yeah, I'm going to keep this up, and I feel the benefits from it already. So
Excellent.
it's
All
excellent.
right.
Thank you, Elaine.
You're most welcome. Well, thank you for being willing to be part of this episode.
My
Greatly
pleasure.
Appreciate it.
My pleasure.
Fascia research is expanding our understanding of how integral this tissue is to overall health and performance. Its role extends beyond structural support, influencing movement, pain, and even emotional well-being. As more is discovered, therapies targeting fascia could become even more central in rehabilitation, sports medicine, and chronic pain management. Working on fascial tissue requires specific techniques and practices that target this unique connective tissue. The goal is to keep fascia healthy, elastic, hydrated, and free of adhesions or restrictions that may limit your movement or cause pain. Fascia does its best to keep us stable and mobile. A little attention to it, especially after an injury, or as a preventative, can go a long way to keeping it healthy. Minimal to no equipment is required for this practice. Even with a few minutes a day, you can begin to use the simple exercises demonstrated to potentially put your body into a state of healing, rejuvenation, and overall well-being.